Hi everyone, Kiki Halbert here, and today I'm going to be showing you a layout using the Storyteller collection from Vicki Boutin. I've decided that I am going to scrapbook these funny photos of my husband with my cat, and since they're a little bit crazy, I wanted something really different to go along with the photos. So I chose some of my scraps from a Storyteller collection, which I really love. And I've backed the photos on some coordination cardstock, and it's textured. So what I'm doing is I'm sanding it to show the white core and get it really grunged up because I think it will work really well with this collection, looking that way. Have you worked with this collection before, or have you seen it around? It's not new on the market. Vicki has a new kit collection, but I still think this is one of my favorite collections by far, because it's got so many great pieces for just everyday layouts. And to sand off these the cardstock, what I'm using is the Prima marketing tool. That's what I was showing you. I don't know if it's available anymore, but it's one of my favorite tools to use to sand photos, to sand papers, to distress papers. So that's what I'm doing here on these particular photos, because I think the grungy look is really going to be cool for this particular look that I'm going for. And I've used the two papers that you see here. I've got scraps of paper. I'm going to show you how I use them together. And I went with the green for the backing because I wanted to add a little bit more of a greenish color to back the, to bring out the color of my cat's eyes. But also this text paper has green kind of in it. And so that's why I've decided that I would be using the green cardstock for it. So I'm just going to cut the papers off so that I have two long strips, so that they're going to cover the paper from for the 12 by 12, and they're going to overlap slightly, but that's no big deal for me. And I really like that paper, the bottom part, because it's really awesome how it's all the paper strips and it looks like it's already done for you. I know I've said before that I generally don't like the pre-layered look for papers, but in this case I will make an exception because it just is, it's fabulous. It looks, rather than trying to do it all yourself that way, having it all pre-done is awesome. And because it's so generic, it's not meant to look like anything in particular. I don't mind covering up some of it, but leaving some of it exposed is just going to be really cool to look at, I think. So I have these three photos, and I've kind of done this type of a design in the past, and I thought I really like the book paper, or the book embellishment there, the die cut, because to me it was about telling the story behind the photos. Especially that crazy one of my husband holding the cat upside down. Believe it or not, he actually loves that. So I thought I would do that, but I had it so that the photos would be at the top, and then later on you'll see that I actually bring them down below a little bit. So I've pulled out some different embellishments, different die cuts that I think are really going to work for this photo and for what I want to do. And I'm playing around with them a little bit. You'll see that I've got some of Vicki's embellishments there are vellum, which are so cool. But in the end, what I decided to do was actually stick the photos kind of along the middle, because that would give me an opportunity to kind of put kind of a cluster at the top that would become my title of my layout. So you'll see me kind of playing around with that book again. I do like, I have the idea, like I love working with these cards that are at the bottom and the Storyteller. I really like this vellum embellishment, so I'm going to use that. I do want a journaling card, but I'm going to really play around with where I want them and how I'm going to go about layering them. So you'll see me doing that a little bit, bit at a time. I really enjoy working with this collection because it reminds me a lot of art journaling. A lot of art journaling uses things like tickets and cards and all kinds of things, like lots of little bits of memorabilia and ephemera. And so that's why I think that's probably why I like this collection so much, is that it's kind of like scrapbooking with art journaling materials. So I really do enjoy that a lot. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to get all these little papers on that I want to use. And because it's not, for me, this layout is just fun. It's not about showing off the photos so much as it is kind of journaling, as I said. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start off by making sort of this cluster at the top. You saw that I was playing with that paper clip and having it around the book, but I'm going to actually put it on the photo of my husband with the cat. Whiskey's a little bit crazy, our cat, Whiskey, and it's an appropriate name because sometimes he drives us to drink, let me tell you. But he's the most vocal cat going, and he loves my husband to bits. And my husband is so annoyed by his vocalizations because he's constantly like doing crazy things like waking us up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then 4 o'clock in the morning. So he's kind of a nutso cat, but we love him, and he's bonded to my husband. That's obvious. So it's just so crazy. But what I journal about later, and you'll see me writing it, is it really shows me what kind of man my husband is, some of his qualities, because for a man who says that this cat drives him insane, he looks pretty happy with that cat. I mean, so I had to take those photos and just get that onto the page because I thought it was just hilarious. You'll see that I used, for this layout, I'm using Scotch quick dry adhesive, and you might notice that because I used it on the two papers, the one that is the text paper on the top and then also the multi-layered paper on the bottom, that the cardstock underneath is starting to curl a little bit because I used too much of it. I do really love this adhesive. But it can, if you do have to go light on it, otherwise it gets your paper too wet. And I just kind of made that mistake. So it's curling my paper a little bit, but not too badly. My layouts usually have a ton of dimension anyhow, so it's not like they're going to lay flat in my album anyhow. But what I would normally use to back my cardstock would be something like Helmer 450 quick dry, or you could use a tape runner for sure. I just decided that because I had the glue there, that I was going to use the glue to adhere to the cardstock. So I'm journaling now on this beautiful card, and you saw that I've kind of played around with the embellishments at the bottom. I think I know where I want them, and I'm pretty sure that I was going to have that centered. And in the end, I decided not to. It just looked, I don't know, it was like, I guess with the title at the top and then the "This is perfect," it just, everything started running down the center of the layout, and I didn't like the look of it. So you'll actually see me change the positioning a bit on that, and change it up to give it a little bit, how can I put it? A little bit of asymmetry, I guess you could say. And because I put the two long pieces here, the feather and the other tag, over a little bit, that made a difference, I think, with the card. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to place the card somewhere else, the journaling card, just because I felt like, okay, it didn't belong there anymore. So, so you'll see me just kind of play around with where I want it. Do I want to expose some of the paper underneath? Do I want to move it over? And in the end, I do end up moving it over to the left-hand side a little bit more, just because I felt it balanced. It felt more balanced to me that way, there, over top of the other cluster. So I've got that down, and of course, Vicki's collection comes with some really great puffy stickers as well that you can use. And I saw some puffy stickers that I really loved. And if you're not quite sure where you're going to put things on the page, instead of pulling up the sticker right away, which you'll see me kind of start to do, I'm sort of looking through the stickers and trying to decide which one I want to use. If you're kind of hum-haring about what you're going to do, like I am right now, instead of pulling it off the acetate, what you can do is cut around it, and then that way you can you can fiddle around with the placement. It's clear. See right there, I'm kind of thinking, oh yes, I'm definitely going to use this. And then I decide, whoa, no, wait a minute. So I'm going to cut the pieces out that I think I want to use. And this was a good decision on my part. You'll see later, because I ended up not using them on the layout. I just didn't like how it looked. It wasn't set apart enough. I do end up using the puffy stickers, but I just don't end up using this title. I kind of thought I want it there, and then it was like, no, it's right near the love, this is perfect. And I just, I ended up deciding not to go with that particular title and using those. But I do use the puffy stickers because I love them. They're just so cool. There's all kinds of hearts and things. And so I'm going to use those to add some more embellishments around my page. I have two pretty large clusters. I've got the cluster that has the journaling on top of it, and then I have the cluster at the top that says enjoy every moment. So now I need some smaller embellishments just to make sure that my page is sort of balanced off with different sizes of embellishments, different colors as well. So I'm going with different colors of the hearts and bringing in different colors here, there, and everywhere. And many times too, the eye is attracted to uneven numbers of things, like asymmetry, so something that's odd numbers. And so for this particular layout, you'll see that I actually try to make the clusters, odd numbers, or I might add an embellishment near the cluster to just kind of make it an uneven number of things that are in that cluster. And that helps to balance the page out and balance the cluster out so that it's not too much. But I love all these little puffy hearts. I mean, they're so cute. All these different designs of them. And there's so many of them. That's one thing about this collection, is that the amount of embellishments that you get and the amount of puffy stickers that you get, it's really worth the money, let me tell you. So I'm going to be playing with this a lot and using these whenever I can, and using it right down to the last little bit of it, because it's just, I love this collection. So if you like my tips and tricks when I'm giving these videos, please give me a like, a thumbs up, and give me a comment in the bottom if you'd like to see me work with something in particular, or if you'd like to see me do a specific technique, and I'll try to get to those in my videos in the future. So I'm just holding up the page to look at it a little bit, just to see if it works for me, if there's anything that I'd like to add to it. I think in this particular case, I'm pretty sure that I'm happy with it. One thing that I've decided to do to just make the page a little bit messier, art journaling style, the wording on the paper is really not coming out for me. So what I wanted to do is just use a pen and just circle some of the words or some of the sayings that are there to highlight them. They're kind of like their own little embellishment that way. So I decided to do that just to draw attention to them. So you can always feel free to do that as well with word paper, and some people cut them out, but this is sort of typewritten, so you can't really do that. But yeah, I just thought it would be kind of fun to circle some of the sayings that I thought were great, like "you're the best" or things like that. So I found different ones around the page that I liked, and I'm going to circle those with some ink with my Close to My Heart journal pen. And you'll see me doing one there just off on the side. It says "sweet." So it's such a fun collection, I tell you. I definitely am going to be picking up Vicki's new collection as well, though. If you've picked it up already and played with it, I'd love to hear what your favorite papers are before I purchase them. So leave me a comment below and let me know what papers you really like. And if there's any particular layout that you've seen that really inspired you to get the collection. So if you've enjoyed my tips and tricks, I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel to be notified of future videos. And thanks again for being here. I hope that you have a great weekend.